Welcome to That Didn't Work.
Welcome to the origin story of Mirumoto Dip Thong. Mirumoto is Rick's character, right? Rick, say hi.
Hi, Mirumoto is his family name.
Yes, which is generally how people will identify him. In Legend of the Five Rings, things are very Eastern. So you're called by your last name more often than not, and only by your first name to your closest of friends and confidants. So Mirumoto is a dragon clan samurai who has trained in the Iron Mountain Dojo, which is where the Mirumoto are trained, since he was orphaned. So you're not dragon by family, right?
Yes, I'm dragon by family.
Gotcha.
I'm Mirumoto, but I was raised in the Tishigat.
I see. So your Mirumoto family was killed in some way, and you were raised by Togashi monks.
Yes.
I see. That makes more sense. Okay, so Mirumoto Dip Thong, dip if I may.
You may.
Mirumoto is older than your traditional samurai would be when taking their genpuku. Generally speaking, that's like around like 14 to 16, maybe even younger, depending on skill level and size and things like that. But where most other clans and cultures do their genpuku ceremonies tournament style, the Mirumoto are a little bit different. The Mirumoto, and I don't know, Rick, if you had an opportunity to read through the Wikipedia pages and stuff that I sent you, but
Those
just
I
to
did.
give,
On
cool.
the Shinsei, yes.
Cool. So the Mirumoto specifically celebrate not only Togashi, which is the founder of the Dragon Clan, is the kami that founded this clan, but the Mirumoto focus a lot on Shinsei, which is this ancient wise man who lived when the kami fell in Rokugan and guided them to lead the mortals. And so he has a lot of sayings. There's a document called Tao of Shinsei that are kind of like his interactions with the kami and how he built and helped to develop these families in this world, even to the point where Shinsei actually convinced Bayushi, who is the Scorpion clan's kami father, whatever you would call that, he convinced him to throw the tournament as far as like which kami would oversee the other kami. Like Bayushi threw the tournament so that the rest of his clan would underestimate him. And so like it's Shinsei had all of these hands in how these clans were created and how these families interact. And the story of Shinsei with Togashi, Togashi was attempting to seek enlightenment and found himself in the forest in the mountains and had committed himself to not sleeping, eating, or drinking until he found enlightenment. And Shinsei came across him and, feeling the pain of the mortal world, feeling the hunger and the sadness and the war and the disparity of the mortal world, thought that Togashi was a little bit full of himself and seeking enlightenment when there was so many things that needed to be done that he could do. And so Shinsei, being the wise man that he is, kneeled down next to Togashi and said, "Neither will I." And that's the only three words that he said. And this showed Togashi the seriousness of what he was doing, and it made him realize that there's a balance between enlightenment and action. And that those two, while they work hand in hand, aren't necessarily always mutually exclusive. And so in the Iron Mountain Dojo, at the head of the dojo, there's a shrine to both Shinsei and Togashi, and on each side of it, it says, "Neither will I." Mirumoto, when they're ready to graduate from the Bushi school, meditate in front of this shrine on those three words and hopes that they would get some sort of wisdom or vision through it, whether it's from Shinsei or from Togashi. So that's where you'll find yourself. During your morning reflections, Mirumoto finds himself wandering through the forest, taking in the appearances and majesty of all of the natural things around him, wondering at the kami who dwell within the rock and the kami who dwell within the wind that surrounds the mountain. You approach the Iron Mountain Dojo. It's the morning of your Genpuku test. So as you're kind of wandering in this mountain forest, what is your thought process? What are you doing? Just kind of give us a picture of how Mirumoto is interacting.
He knows that he has to find enlightenment, and he knows that through meditation he's been able to calm the storms inside of him, but he hasn't been able to break through to see through the clouds. And he's been taught that basically all of the rings are mere illusion, that really it's just the void and everything is back to the void. But he sees, the fire. He sees the mountain. He's basically focused on the mountain, on Earth, because that's the only thing that keeps him stable. And the fire keeps boiling up inside of him. So he's trying to find the peace. He's able to find peace and calm, but he's not able to see beyond that.
Okay. So would you want to kind of save that meditation for being in the temple, or would you want to try to gather yourself before going in for this test?
He's probably going to, the thing that has always calmed him is putting his feet on the ground and standing his ground, almost like against the storm, planting his feet against the storm. He's not been able to find the peace that the storm will just wash over him, and so he is probably in that frame of mind. His teacher has told him that great things are in store for him, and that he will find his enlightenment, but he just doesn't see how, and he is still confused in that. And yet they keep pushing him along, even though he doesn't feel he's ready. So he's fixing to go in and sit down and contemplate the universe. He doesn't know what to expect at this point, because he doesn't know how he's going to find the enlightenment. Now he realizes he's not expected to find enlightenment right here.
Sure.
That he will face tests that will hopefully get him there. But so he would probably be contemplating the mountain.
All right. So go ahead and make a target number 1 meditation earth roll.
All right, that'll be 3 black die and 2. I think my meditation is 2. Yeah. All right. So we got. Okay, so I get to keep 3 die, right?
Correct.
All right, well, I have 3 success, and let's see if we get another one.
Did you get an explosive?
I did.
Okay.
So I will take out, so I get 3 success and 1 opportunity.
Okay, any strife?
No strife.
No strife, wow. It's impressive.
I took out the strife.
Yeah, that works. Okay, so as far as opportunity goes on an earth ring, So for an earth ring, kind of in any check stance, you could reduce your strife or reduce another character's strife by 2. You can act carefully. Essentially, so meditation is a martial skill, but you're not like in conflict. But
I always
basically,
thought that's odd that it's a martial skill.
Well, it's because the main focus of the meditation is calming your inner self during conflict states. sort of.
Gotcha.
It has less to do with it actually fitting into that category and more with the fact that it fits into martial approaches.
Yeah.
And so,
Especially Eastern martial approaches. Yeah.
yeah. So you find yourself dwelling heavily on the tasks that are about to be set before you, not really knowing what to expect from your overseers, the other higher ranking samurai that make up the Mirumoto Iron Mountain Dojo. And in that process, you, in trying to see enlightenment and trying to kind of have some sort of breakthrough in your meditation, you don't manage to get like through the clouds, as you said. Kind of that's how Mirumoto is thinking. Instead, you focus in this meditation on having the object on the other side of the clouds come to you, and you don't see it. There's no vision about it, but it's kind of a part of that sort of enlightenment journey of I'm not the only thing moving here. That it's not always me moving toward enlightenment, but enlightenment always is also approaching me at its own pace.
Which follows in the teachings of the 5 different rings, that they are beings, basically.
Yes.
And
yeah. And so that's kind of the sense that you get. And in the midst of that preparation, you feel more confident in approaching the Iron Mountain Dojo. And so as you approach it, walking up the Sun's Last Walk, you briefly admire the construction of the dojo before entering its doors. And when you enter inside, you see your Mirumoto trainer, the Bushi trainer that you have gotten to know pretty significantly. You see a dragon Shugenja, a scholar, more or less than anything else. You do see the monk who took you in here to witness this task, and you also see a crane and a crab Bushi sensei, samurai, a teacher. Even though the Iron Mountain Dojo is in dragon territory, dragon are not the only ones that train here. And so you see also a crane and a crab teacher there to witness your final tests of adulthood. The first thing that they ask you to do is to demonstrate your kata, which is going to be the martial technique that you learned at character creation. So what technique did you pick?
Oh, for my kata?
Yes.
Where's it written down in here?
So it would have been like in abilities or something like that.
It would have been my techniques.
It probably wouldn't be in the 20 questions because it follows with your curriculum more than anything else.
Right, which was part of the 20 questions.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have written down like it's not an answer to a 20 question. Let's go to the book.
Yeah, we're gonna have some editing here.
Yeah, we will. It's all right.
Okay, so the techniques. Well, let's see. There was it was ninja. Yeah, it's in the 20 questions. Yeah,
Okay,
see,
so
this is
you're the
actual
Two
sheet.
Heavens Adept is the name of the school. And within that, you have the opportunity to select either striking as fire, striking as water, or striking as earth.
Earth and Fist is the Kiho.
Those
are starting techniques. Blood of the Kami? No.
So I think what's happened here is that you started as a Togashi monk.
Right.
And you didn't erase those, right? Because you're the Mirumoto Bushi, right?
No, I'm a Togashi monk.
Oh, then I prepared the wrong thing for you. So let's go to that then. Togashi monk. Yeah, so you get to choose one. Earth and Fist. Earth needs no eyes. Flame Fist, Key Protection, or Water Fist?
Earthen Fist.
Earthen Fist is the one you picked?
Yes.
Okay. So then let's go down to techniques. Do you have the effect of that written down? If not, I'm getting to it right now.
It is. Let's see. As an attack and support action, you may make.
Go ahead and talk into that mic for us.
As an attack and support action, you make a target number martial arts unarmed earth check to empower your unarmed blows. When you perform this action, you may choose a character at range 0 to 1 as the target for the burst effect. A burst effect, if you succeed with 2 or more bonus successes, you deal physical damage to the target equal to your earth rating, and your target must resist with a target number 4 fitness check, or if they're air, 2 or 5 water, or suffer the prone condition. While this Keyho is active, I can enhance it. Treat the base damage of your unarmed punch and kick profiles as being increased by your earth ring. While this Keyho is active, increase your physical resistance by 1.
Wow, that's a really potent effect. So they're going to ask you to display that by doing that target number 1 martial arts earth check.
Okay.
Martial arts unarmed, of course.
So that would be target number 1 is 3 success and 1 strife, or I can just take 2 success with no strife. So since I don't want any strife to start, that would not look good. Not with my strife. So I will take the 2 success.
Okay, so you succeed twice. So you center yourself. You pull your fists to the side and begin taking your stances and going through the motions of kata is a technique name in here. Kata is also just movements in martial arts.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they could probably tell that I'm actually holding myself back not to, because I pulled that dice out of there.
Yeah.
They might be able to tell that I'm actually holding myself back to keep myself in check.
Sure. So you pass that little bit with flying colors. And they ask you to recite some bits of the Tao of Shinsei. So let's have you roll. I would take composition in the artisan block. You could do culture. You could do sentiment.
I can
would
do
be okay.
none of the above.
Theology would be probably the last one
Theology
you'd
is
be
the
able to
only
do.
one that I actually have any ranks in. And
Sure. So,
would that
but
be-
the ring is going to have to be air, which is probably a low point for
It
you.
is absolutely a low point.
Sure. But hey, how many ranks do you have in theology?
1.
1. Okay, cool. So 2 dice, you get to keep 1.
And I did get strife. I'll keep both dice.
Well, you can only keep 1
Oh, I
because
can
your
only keep
air
one?
ring is only 1.
Oh, that's true. So yes, I succeeded with 1 strife.
Okay, so you got 1 success and 1 strife. So you'll take the strife, as this is not something that you're used to doing. Again, you kind of struggle with ascribing to the ways of Bushido, and you're struggling with finding your own personal enlightenment. And so being asked to kind of come up with those things off the top of your head was stressful, but you made it through. You powered right on into it. And for the last part of your Genpuku ceremony is going to be a 3-hour meditation in front of the shrine. And so go ahead and roll me another earth and meditation check. And this is a target number 2 check.
One thing I've learned in the temple, in the monastery, is to be patient. And I have target number 3 successfully.
So you got 3 successes, any strife?
No strife.
No strife. Awesome. So you sit and meditate. And in your mind, you're trying with all your might to embody both Togashi and Shinsei, because you know that that's what they're asking you to do, to meet together wisdom, the wisdom of Bushido, and the enlightenment that Togashi sought. And you're trying to meet those together in the phrase, neither will I. that's written on both sides of this shrine are just kind of repeating themselves through your head. And at some point during this meditation, you enter a sort of trance, and you see yourself back in the forest, back where you were when you first meditated, when you were on your way into the shrine or the dojo. As you wander around, like I don't know if you walk or just look, but things about this scene feel off to you. Something about this doesn't seem. You're in the same place. You recognize some of the same things, but also there are things that you don't recognize. All right, so you feel something about this scenario, something about these trees or the air around you. It just doesn't seem to fit. And so what do you do?
I will sit down and meditate.
Okay, you continue. I'm going to go deeper.
Well,
deeper into the inception.
So I'm meditating right now.
Yes. Yeah, you're having some and you would know, like, you know physically that you are sitting in the dojo.
Okay. Well, then I will use...
This is some kind of out-of-body thing.
I will call on Lord Tagashi's insight.
Okay.
Which is one of my techniques. Once per game session as an action, you may make a TN2 meditation check to seek cosmic wisdom regarding a quandary in front of you. Effects: if you succeed, you receive a brief vision or hear the voice of Tagashi providing a hint regarding one way you might proceed, which the GM should furnish. This hint should not be the full answer, but it should help you move forward toward a solution or at least formulate a plan of action.
Okay.
So it basically gives me a clue.
Yeah, another target number 2 meditation check. Cool.
Yes.
Does it tell you meditation what?
Void.
Okay.
Ooh, there's no way to avoid strife on this one.
All right.
They keep exploding?
Yep, they keep exploding as long as you're rolling explosive successes.
All right.
And you can keep each of them individually. Do you need more dice?
No, we're good.
Okay.
I got 1 strife. I was successful.
How
with
many
1 strife.
successes?
Well, I can only keep 2. So
well,
2
you can
successful.
keep all of your explosive successes.
Oh, I can, but that's going to give me more strife.
Okay. So you're against that one. Okay.
At this point, yes.
Cool. So you see in front of you, you kind of hear a twig snap and you spin around to see what it is. And a large black wolf comes around a large tree, looks at you with yellow eyes, like not like glowing yellow eyes, like yellow wolf eyes.
Okay, yes, gotcha.
And snarls and begins growling.
What are you doing here? What do you wish?
It continues to snarl and paws at the ground. Roll a sentiment check, and it can be with describe to me how you get to this ring, but it can be whatever ring you want.
Sentiment?
Yes.
You're talking about how I'm feeling here? Sentiment?
Well, it's sentiment in Legend of the Five Rings is used to gauge. It's like empathy.
Okay.
It's used to gauge the and gain some insight into how you should be interacting with something around you or how it's intending to interact with you.
I don't know what this is, and I'm going to be again pulling in I'm going to use void because I'm still trying to pull in Tagashi's insight in how to deal with this thing. Even though it's not that.
So the kind of way that you would do this particular void approach, and I'm glad that you're kind of, because void is intentionally very vague in the way that it's worded. It just is vagueness as an essence. So for Void, for this particular thing, it would be like, okay, this wolf seems angry at me, but instead of reacting to it, I'm going to listen to it.
Oh, I see.
You're going to kind of empty your own emotion toward the wolf and instead accept it for what it is.
Fair enough. It's an illusion.
Everything's an illusion.
It's a test, yes.
This is all an acid trip.
Okay, so I use Void and...
Sentiment, do you have any ranks
I
in
don't
it?
have any ranks in it.
Okay.
I don't even know where it is.
It would be under
I see
your
it. Yeah, Scholar.
scholar skills. Yeah.
Pulling up the strife.
Okay, but how many successes did you get?
2 successes. How many did I need?
Wow, you needed one.
I'm just going to take the one.
So if you only take the one, cool. This wolf is growling and snarling at you, but you can. It's not in a way that's like you're invading its territory. It's almost like you've seen this in other pack style animals where this is a creature that wants to break into your world. It's snarling to show its strength to you, not to ward you off.
Did I pick up any insight from it that it is evil? Now, do we look at wolves as, because different cultures look at wolves differently.
Sure, wolves are creatures. They can be a sign, but at the end of the day, a wolf is a wolf. And without any other backing, then it just is a wolf.
Got you. One thing that I've learned is I need to embrace who I am. I am both fire. I am the volcano. And I'm seeing this wolf as potentially a volatile part of nature that is trying to enter in. And I am not going to keep it out. I'm not going to... it does not seem hostile. So I'm going to extend my palm to it.
Okay.
Basically inviting it.
So it is going to approach you, and almost in a flash, there are 10 other wolves, and you find yourself surrounded. None of them are making a sound, but this one is licking your palm.
Okay. I will show no fear. I have indomitable will. And I will look it in the eye. And I will bow to it. And I accept your affection.
At this point, you hear the crunching of leaves behind you, and if you turned your head away from the wolf, you would see an old, wrinkled, yet smooth man in a yellow, folded robe, walking with a stick. If you don't turn, though, you wouldn't see him. In fairness.
I will take my eyes off the wolf, and I will look at the old man.
It is strange for someone in your circumstance to have accepted the wolf so readily.
But there is a wolf inside of me, and I've been taught that I must accept who I am.
And a wolf killed your family. Do you accept that?
It was a demon that killed my family.
Says you. Says perhaps other samurai.
I saw it with my own eyes. It was not a wolf as this creature. It was not of nature. It was an abomination.
Everything is of nature. It may not be your nature or a pleasant nature. And it's kind of at this moment that you're realizing that this is a vision of Shinsei speaking to you.
I figured that.
Yeah.
Well, yes. I mean, you teach that it is all an illusion, which I don't understand. It crawled out of the Shadowlands, out of the hole, and crawled back into the hole after decimating my family. But not this creature.
Illusion is strong. Perhaps the interpretation of that word has changed in the last 1,000 years. Illusion is less falsehood and more what is reality. There is more to our world. There are other worlds. The Shadowlands did not come about because of necessarily some abomination, but rather a seeping from another world.
Yes, that is what they teach.
And
but it is a cancer that
it is
threatens
nature.
the empire. But some things in nature, if a person contracts a terrible disease, should not that disease be stopped before it wipes out the population?
He walks to one of the wolves sitting on the outskirts and kind of presses his stick into the base of its neck until it's like on the ground. It's not squirming. It doesn't look like it's in pain, but he is pressing it into the ground. And if it were a living animal, it would certainly be in pain.
Why do you forcefully injure that animal?
Because the things from outside of our world must be destroyed. That is what you are teaching me.
Not all things. Only things that are corrupted and evil.
Who decides what is corrupt? And he does. He twists his stick and it breaks the wolf's neck. It doesn't yelp. No pain. But it's done. And the wolf is seemingly dead. It is, after all, a vision.
Right.
So I'm trying to use like
it's an illusion.
It's an illusion. I'm trying to use vague terms intentionally, but like it looks dead. If you were watching it on a screen, it would appear dead.
Just like in a movie.
Yes, exactly.
Except I'm in this movie.
Yeah, and it's weird.
Yes, but though wolves can be dangerous, they are all part of the balance of nature. But the corruption that crawls out of the Shadowlands is not part of that. It is...
Answer me this. If there were only peace, would the world progress?
In a different way, but yes.
Would it? When my home is at peace, we change very few things. We may buy a new piece of literature. We might visit a new farm, but for the most part, nothing shifts. It is when faced with adversity that a man finds a new job. It is when faced with trial that a man learns a new skill. Without the chaos of what you call the Shadowlands, would Rokugan change? Or would it become stale?
That is a good question.
I will leave you with this, and please tell your masters that you have passed. They will know what it means. There cannot be progress without chaos. But chaos must be kept in check. This is the lesson that every dragon learns when they visit me.
A balance. But how do you know when it is out of balance?
That is the question. And he bangs his staff on the ground, and the wolves disappear, and the forest disappears. And if it were on a screen, it would seem gray, but you don't really recognize a color. There's no light refracting. You know that Shinsei was wearing a yellow robe, but you don't see a yellow robe. You know that he has a tanned skin tone, but you don't see that. You know that he's there, but your eyes are taking in no information. This is where you find yourself. Knowing that we exist, but questioning if we exist. Dip Thong, this is the void.
But there's nothing.
And we know this to be true. But is this knowledge safe knowledge?
It is what we all believe. So whether it is safe or dangerous, it has not appeared to cause us any grief. I don't think people understand it. I don't understand it.
Some people do. I
How can-
hope to see you on the other side of this void someday.
That would be enlightenment.
Perhaps. And at that point, your eyes once again fill with color, and you feel a headache come on because it's very sudden, and you come out of this trance-like state in front of the assembly, which has grown quite large. And you realize now that you have been in meditation for hours upon hours. It hasn't just been the 3, it's been longer than a normal person's meditation. Mirumoto Dip Thong, what did you learn? You were deep in thought for nearly 9 hours.
I learned that there are questions upon questions, and that the answers must be found. I believe that I must embrace who I am, and that I have much to learn.
Dip Thong, the Emperor, requires me to ask that you uphold the entirety of Bushido to the best of your ability. We in the Iron Mountain Dojo know that this is not your forte. And if you answer yes, the trial ahead of you is greater than it is for any other in this room now.
The entirety of Bushido but there are tenets of the Bushido that go against the teachings of Shinsei.
That is not being brought into question here.
If I am required, I can. If it is required of me to serve the empire, to serve the emperor, I can live the tenets of Bushido. Whether, even though one of the tenets is I have much to learn.
As do we all. Please rise, take your weapons, and you will begin your journey tomorrow to the palace of the Ruby Champion.
I will serve the family well.
He bows to you.
And I will bow to all of the other guests, and I will do an especially long bow to the crab.
Okay. The crab bows long at you and looks up and smiles for a moment and then turns and leaves, which is not something you've ever seen her do. I know I just now established that this crab was a woman, but I feel like it fits in this scenario. So we're going to go with it. And I hope I remember that later on when she comes back up. I don't know. We'll find out.
I'll write it down.
Episode 47. I thought you said the crab was a woman. It's a new crab. Shut up.
If we have people that are following us that close, that'll be a good problem to have.
That is very, very true. Okay. So you have graduated, and this is kind of where we leave off. So there are definitely parts of that vision that are going to be very, very important for, at the very least, the upcoming story arc. All right, well, until next time, keep on adventuring. Thanks for listening to Well, That Didn't Work, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right. Good
Bye.
night. Thanks.